All right, folks, this is Laconia part 1, or maybe the prequel, depending on how you look at it. We're getting the camper hooked up to the old F250, and we're going to be going ahead and getting the bike and the camper there. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Listen, I'm very much a one-track mind here. There we go. Okay, folks. Let's see if the battery's dead on this thing. Yeah, it's pretty low. Plug her in. Alright, you guys will come along as I hook up here. Well, that didn't work. This truck was supposed to charge the damn battery. Hold on. So I haven't actually towed this yet with the motorcycle in the bed. So we'll see how she does. I already sold my weight distribution hitch, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I'm like, I got a 2500 now. I'm not going to need that. So we'll see. I mean, absolute worst case scenario, I guess I'll buy another one. You know, call me a little girl for putting gloves on, but I don't know why, but this camper hitch for some reason just gets so greasy and nasty. It's just nice to not get the interior of the truck all dirty just to hook up the dang trailer. And I know there's a farmer out there or whatever, like, what a Sally. And you're not wrong, but alas. At least I admit it. I did, however, keep the sway bar because that definitely makes a big difference, even with a heavy-duty truck. Fun. 2.5 and a little change because she's getting a little more worn out. All right, folks, we're on the way to Laconia 2024, baby. I'm actually going to work first, hence the shirt. But we'll be leaving right after work from work because my work is on the way to Laconia. How many more times can I say work? Anyway, we'll catch back up with you guys when we're kind of heading there. And hopefully we make it there with no issues. 10, 12 percenters through Vermont here. She's cruising at 2,200 RPM. It actually is flattening out right now, but easy money for the old 7-tree, towing about 6,500 pounds. We're gonna hit this steep part again. But no problem at all. I'm going to purposely slow down a little bit because we got a sharp turn coming up. I'm way backed out of the throttle. All right, now we're rolling back into it. I'm going to grab a gear. I mean, we're under 3K, pulling at 50 plus miles an hour. Crap, you guys got a bad glare. There we go. Easy. Easy cruising for the 7.3. You love to see it. Coming across Hogback Mountain here. Last little steep stretch for this, section of road. Beautiful view, by the way. If you've never had a chance to drive past Hogback Mountain through Vermont, highly recommend it. Now we'll see how she does coming down the hill. I'm going to purposely give it a little bit of brakes to get it to shift. Okay. Grab 5th gear. That was probably a little aggressive. We really didn't need 5th gear yet, but yeah, it's actually going to hold us too slow. So I'm going to roll back in the throttle. It's an 8% downhill, according to that sign. So I'm actually on the gas a little bit right now. Okay, so now we just shifted into 7th. Let's just see what it does on this 8%er. I'm going to hit the brakes. Downshift into 5th. No problem, holding me. Accelerator. Get her to shift into 6, 7. Give me 7. There we go. I mean, super smooth and easy. I could just set cruise control. I actually probably should have, but some of those turns are a little bit sharp, so I like to just go a little slower around them. I don't like throwing the camper around too bad, just because campers are, built like junk, let's be honest here. We are starting to kind of flatten out, and we're going back uphill. This is a very typical northeastern tow, kind of going through Vermont, New Hampshire, parts of Maine, parts of upstate New York. You're just going to hit these kind of mountain switchback, not really switchbacks, just these kind of like cruising mountain roads, if you will. Medium turns, some pretty steep grades, some flatter spots, nothing too crazy. You'll see this a lot in the Appalachians down south too. just kind of the whole East Coast mountain areas essentially have pretty similar driving. Just trying to give you an idea of what it's like, real world experience. The steering for a road like this, I mean, completely fine. I have no weight distribution hitch on the camper just because I don't really need it. The motorcycle's in the bed of the truck. So I got a lot of a lot of axle weight, a lot of payload total with the tongue weight and the bike. And it's a gas truck, so you'd think the front end might get a little light, but not really. If you hit a real big mid-corner bump, you can kind of tell that you're towing, but it's pretty minimal effects. So we're cruising right now. I'm gonna give it a good little stab of the brakes. Got her down into 6th. That should give us enough speed reduction to make this corner. And we have another truck lane coming up, so we'll be climbing pretty soon. And we'll see how she does on the hill. So we're gonna leave it in 8th for now. I'm gonna slow down a little bit because this is pretty sharp. But all right, there we go. Now we're into the hill climb. I'm probably gonna be able to do about 50 or 55 just due to the steepness. I mean, no problem at all. I'm quarter throttle. It probably could have been a gear lower if it had set itself up accordingly. But that's nothing for RPM anyway. All right, we got an 8% downhill. Just saw the sign. I unfortunately didn't get the camera on before you guys could see it. So we're gonna give it some brakes to slow us down. I got sharp turns on all these roads, so I can't just let it wind itself out, but no brakes yet. I'll let you know if I have to push them. But we're good right now. I mean, it's slowing me down, so I gotta get back on the gas. I would say very good grade holding. This is a light trailer, obviously, but these are 8% grades, and we're going slow, so the wind resistance isn't really helping me in this case that much. This is all just like natural, the weight of the trailer. It could be a car trailer, and it would be, similar to this if it was a similar weight. So the wind resistance of a camper for grades really helps the interstate more because it'll help keep you slowed down. That's where the sail effect of a camper comes in handy. But we're just giving it taps of the brakes to get it to downshift. And I mean, I'm not really hitting the brakes much at all. I probably hit the brakes for 20 seconds total on the entirety of these big hills. Just letting the engine do the work, which is what you really want. Trans temps, I guarantee it's probably about 220. Yep, 217. These trans run kind of hot compared to what you're used to. They're made to do it. The fluid's made to do it, or so they claim. I don't know what to tell you guys. You can debate that in the comments. I got to go off the fact that Ford at this point in the year 2020, 2020 when this came out, this is a 22, but this design, I would sure as hell hope that they engineered it in such a way that it doesn't burn itself up, because they all have thermostats nowadays, so they're purposely regulating temperature accordingly. So, we're going to have to just take their word for it. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, unless you go and do aftermarket coolers or pull the thermostat or whatever, do that at your own will, I suppose. Windy roads, man. But she handles these curves no problem. We're not hot rodding right now, especially because I'm holding the camera. But easy money for the F250. Absolutely no handling issues. I mean, if I want to hot rod it, this thing is like just as planted as if I'm empty. It's amazing. Really good, surprisingly good handling, as I've said in other videos, for a solid axle truck. I don't really have much of a high standard, or expectation, I should say, for these solid front axle trucks. But this thing is really good, really good. What a great towing experience, honestly. For this kind of load, and I know it's a light trailer for this truck, but I don't know how much better you could possibly do. I mean, sure, obviously, any modern HD truck doesn't have the most advanced suspension. They don't necessarily have airbags. I know some models do, but most don't have airbags, and they still have solid axles and all that kind of stuff. Listen, if you took an independent front and rear end, airbags, the right shocks, all tuned correctly, I mean, I'm sure you can make it handle better towing. But this is, for just a workhorse, simple 1980s design, it's just a very refined solid axle truck, which I like. It's a good blend of new school and old school, in my opinion. So this is like a 8%er. We did actually drop down into 4th briefly. I wish I got on video, but I didn't have a chance to pick up the camera safely. But other than that, that was like 3,800 RPM. I was very, very light throttle, so if I just had backed off a little bit, I probably would have stayed in fifth. All right, we're pulling probably another 7-8%er, 60 miles an hour almost, well under 3,000 RPM. We are losing a little bit of steam, but I'm also getting close to the car in front of me, so I'm not going to get into it. Okay, we grabbed a gear. Now we're picking back up. That's that, folks. Folks, Laconia Bike Week, day one. We're all settled in the camper. We're doing our DOT pre-trip inspections on the motorcycles. We got our home away from home all set up with the renovated interior, if you remember from older videos. Or not that old of a video, but I like it. Anyway, that's all good. We got it's a rare occurrence for the old Sportster to be all cleaned up, but she's pretty clean. Welcome back, folks. You're all hooked up, ready to rock and roll for the trip home. All right, guys, we're on the road. We got about a 4-hour trip home. I'm not gonna have a ton of traffic, hopefully, since it's real early in the morning, so I should be able to get you some good video of this thing towing. We got about 6,500 pounds, as I mentioned before, with the bike and whatnot. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. And we'll get back to you when we're doing something interesting. Stay tuned. Folks, we're in the Vermont hill country now. Climbing like an 8%er. It's only 40 mile an hour speed limit, so I'm not going crazy with it, but she's chugging along. And we're cresting it. I'll get you some good shots going up the backside of Hogback Mountain. And we'll see how she does going up that. Nice and windy and steep. Very, very steep. 8% grade. So now we got another 7 or 8%er coming up. I mean, if you let it lose a tiny bit of speed, I mean, you can pull these under 2,000 RPM. That was a short hill, of course, too, but that view, you'll love to see it, baby. Vermont's beautiful. 3 months a year. And ski season. Okay. Now we got another truck lane coming up, 1/4 mile, so that means we're gonna have a nice steep hill. I think we're entering another 7 or 8%er. Most of these hills, on the downgrade, I know the slope because of the, yeah, it's a steep one. So we'll kick her to 3,000. But it tells you the grade going down the hills. This one's nasty. This is like an 8%. Because this one, you need your service brakes, even if you're running your Jakes on like a tractor trailer or just engine braking on a gasser. You wind up punching the service brakes a couple times. But no problem for the Super Duty. And I gotta back out of the throttle because these turns are coming up. Such a light load for this truck. It really just eats it up. Now my fuel economy's been terrible because I've been hot rodding this thing a little bit. I passed a couple cars. They were safe. It was safe passing some. It was a little aggressive, but I passed a couple cars. They were freaking crawling. But that and the fact that we're towing a trailer. It gets bad mileage, as I've talked about also in other videos. It's a nasty one because you can't hit it with any speed because of the corner. And it's a nice steep hill. You can actually see it gets a little steeper right there. But once again, nothing for the Super Duty. It just kind of accelerates right up it. It's just like, with this amount of weight, I mean, there's really not much to show you guys. It's pretty, hogback will be a little bit of a strain on it, and that's about it, just because of the length of the hill, but this is nothing. Low RPM climbing, no issues. Gotta hit that apex, you ready? Oh, this is actually the backside of Hogback now that I think about it. I accidentally hit my blinker there. We are on the backside of Hogback. And you can see it's just a giant hill. But again, it's just, I didn't even know because this truck just pulls this so easy. And there's Hogback. The old mountain shop. Mountain store. Nobody's there yet because they're closed. There she is. So that's 8% that I just went up because I know that from the sign coming down. And yeah, you saw my RPMs. At these speeds, it's just nothing. Now we'll go down the hill and see how the engine braking does. We're in 4th, 3,200 RPM or so. We'll try to hold about 45, 50 just because there's a lot of curves coming down this hill. It's very early in the morning. It's 6:42 a.m. So that's why there's so little traffic despite being summertime. I try to drive at off times in the day for a whole variety of reasons. But it's also Monday, so it's like a really good day to kind of be out on the road, travel. So that was incredibly uneventful. That's really the steep part. This is still downhill, but it's not as steep. So this is a 6% grade going down, so not too steep. I mean, steep, but not as steep as 8. And this hill climb, we saw earlier in the video coming up. So, you know, those numbers were 6% grade for the truck, to give you an idea. So here's a real steep one. We wound up in 4th gear, but probably really could have done it in 5th. I just kind of let it shift. So that's 5th, so we'll see if we can hold. Yeah, this one's nasty because of this turn too. And that little stretch after the turn is just steeper. Yeah, so we really need 4th for that one. There she goes. Not too awful bad. That's a real nasty little section of hill there. I remember with the Chevy, I would be 35 miles an hour up that, trying my best just because of the 5.3 in it. All right, folks, we are getting pretty close to the end of this trip here. I battled my fuel economy back up to 8.2. I think part of that is the fact that this computer, when you're towing, consistently starts off super low, and then it just kind of increases over time as it figures out what your real world economy is going to be. So that's definitely part of it. And I've noticed towing is usually pretty accurate, so we'll get the hand calculation on that, but it probably is right around 8.2. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. Towing a pretty good sized interstate hill here. But everything's been good. Rest of the trip went super smoothly. No weird towing characteristics of any sort, power-wise, downhill-wise, turning-wise, nothing, right? All just exactly what you would expect for towing a trailer of this size. Got a real steep one here. But it ain't nothing for the old Super Duty. I purposely gave her some RPM, but she don't need it. There we go. Settle in about 3,100. So it's probably an 8%er. This is Route 5S in Amsterdam. For those who know the hill. If you know the hill, you know the hill. She's a steepie. We're by the Target Distribution Center. Oh, it actually went into 7th. It's still holding 60. Heck yeah, man. It's like that, folks. We're all put away and ready for our next adventure. So, as always, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.